Coming up on this episode, Lewis Hamilton goes red, Jeremy Clarkson starts a fight, and the FIA put out the swear jar. All coming up right now. Roll that intro. Oh my god, my voice. If he continues this way, he's going to be one of the greats.
Today he saw something amazing.
This is Formula One. This is the sport we love. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the show. As the bottom third says, the lower third says, big news over the last week. Apologies, by the way, we didn't do a podcast last week. We both had colds and we were dying. But Lewis Hamilton has gone red. I think he's moving to Ferrari, you know. There's something that tells me he might be going to the Scuderia. It was a big moment, wasn't it?
Don't get ahead of yourself here, I'm not sure. But yeah, he basically broke Italy last week.
Yeah.
Maranello essentially came to a standstill.
1,500 people turned up to this. Because I was thinking, you know what, we could just get a flight and go with a zoom lens or something to Fiorano. And like get some photos of Hamilton doing his thing for the first time in a Ferrari, wearing the red suit, wearing the helmet. I've got some photos right here. Like that's pretty cool, right? But no, I'm glad I didn't because it would have been an absolute meltdown. And you know what I'm like around people.
Yeah, you hate people. But there isn't a zoom lens long enough. You just wouldn't.
Story of my life. Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. No, it was insane. He went round. He did about 30 laps, which was 89 kilometers of driving in the SF23. Charles Leclerc did a little bit, but it was mostly about Hamilton. And what was this about? It was all about Hamilton kind of starting to get accustomed to how Ferrari do things, how Ferrari works, the radio, the steering wheel. You know, there are so many differences. I know these, you know, from like all these F1 cars kind of look the same, don't they? From a distance, they kind of look the same. But there are so many differences just in the cockpit alone. All the teams have a different steering wheel setup, different pedal setup, different seating. You know, Hamilton had to get measured up. He's got to have the seat molded to him and foam put in places that he likes it. Sorry,
that just sounded so weird and so much weirder than it was.
So basically, what is happening? This is going to be one of those episodes, ladies and gents. No, he actually already asked for a change, Hamilton. And Ferrari are apparently fast at work. They are doing it. But it was something to do with the pedal box. Charles Leclerc likes it one way, Hamilton likes it the other. That's very, very normal. And it's very normal for teams to kind of change things to, you know, to make sure the driver is in the perfect state of mind, the perfect comfort. Because it's difficult, actually, doing this F1 thing. I've heard it's a very difficult thing to do, racing.
Yeah. It's also going to be, it's going to be a big process for him to integrate into the team. So having this time, as much as it's great for marketing and PR and everyone is living for it, but he does also need to learn how the team works, build relationships with people. They mainly speak Italian. That's going to be a bit of a challenge for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely loving it. I think it's great. And also going back to the point about the steering wheel, he had quite a big input in how that was done in Mercedes, wasn't it? He essentially designed that steering wheel. So now moving from that, where he's been for over a decade, it's like that is going to be really challenging to change just where you automatically go.
This is a huge change for him. I mean, you know, he has this that very special way of using launch control in the car. Like, is that going to work in a Ferrari? Probably, but like, it's something that, you know, he'll have to like. There's going to be knobs and twisty bits and buttons in places that he didn't usually find them. So it's going to be a huge period of adjustment for him. And I think that's why it's so good that he's starting now in 2025 and not 2026 when, you know, if the rumour mill is correct, Ferrari have a cracking powertrain. So this whole year allows him to kind of get into the swing of things. But we've already seen the rookies. They have come in and like, if the rookies have like 2 races to get into it. Like the rookies are so good now. Oscar Piastri, he came in and just blitzed it. And it's going to be the same this year. Kimi Antonelli, we know he's good. Jack Doohan, all these... I mean, how many new rookies have we got? 6. And that's including Liam Lawson, who I know he's a rookie.
He's a rookie, but he doesn't feel like one because
we've seen him
doing so many races.
Yeah. But Hamilton, he's a 7-time world champion. He hasn't got the... Yeah, I read it somewhere. He hasn't got...
I'd just like to clarify, I didn't know that.
You didn't have to say joking.
No, well, you never know these days. I do know that.
Good. I'm glad. Hamilton hasn't got the luxury of coming in and having that time to adapt. So this is so important for him because he needs to hit the ground running, because if the rookies can do it, then Hamilton is expected to do it. Anyway, he was really, really happy about how it felt. Of course, he's going to say this because, he's in a Ferrari. A little bit of context, actually. When you get anything from Ferrari, they're a very controlled organization. And it's just the way they do things. Everything's kind of getting like that these days anyway. But, there are lots of stories of car reviewers, for example, getting a Ferrari, giving it a negative review or a not so positive review, or saying just one kind of little negative thing, and Ferrari will be like, no, you're banned. Chris Harris springs to mind. He was literally banned from the Ferrari test track.
Ooh,
I can't remember the reason, but there was deadmau5 as well. He wrapped his Ferrari. I think it was for some sort of rally, Gumball rally maybe. He wrapped his Ferrari. I think it was in the Nyan Cat livery, and they were like, and it was his Ferrari. They were like, no, we're just going to take that car back. Actually.
Yeah, don't you need approval or something to change the colour? Or
I don't know, but they
that's
didn't
strong
like
branding,
it.
To be fair.
Very strong branding. Ferrari's the kind of company that chooses you to buy their products, not the other way around.
I'm still waiting for the call myself.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
But yeah, Hamilton, there was that first radio message where he was like, wow, God, that was amazing. Wow. Of course you're going to say that because, it is exciting for him. And I'm sure the SF23 does actually probably feels better than the Mercedes he came out of. But look, this is exciting. What though does Hamilton have to do in this season? What are your expectations? I know I just kind of threw that question at you. We haven't talked about this before.
I feel like everyone, not just mine. Well, actually, I don't know what my expectations are, if I'm completely honest. I think it's being built up so much that a lot of people are going to think he's going to come in and just start winning races straight away, which is obviously not going to happen. There's still a transition, as incredible as he is, and yes, he's a 7-time champion. There is still a transition period of time. I don't think it will take long, but we also don't know what their 2025 car is going to be like. They were strong last year, so I would hope that they would carry that on, because I don't think they're going to make that many changes. But you don't know what other teams are going to be doing. It's really hard to predict.
We're at a difficult part of this regulation cycle, aren't we? Because everyone's getting so good, and there are such small margins between all the cars. They're a small change could suddenly skew everything, and Alpine could jump up. We don't know. Aston Martin could jump up. Who's to say Ferrari can't do it? It'd be a bit awkward if Mercedes did it, though, wouldn't it?
That would be uncomfortable for some people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lewis would be a little disappointed if that happened.
That would not look great.
No. What about Charles versus Lewis? Who do you think will? So, my opinion, I think Leclerc's going to take it. I think Leclerc is going to run with it this season. He's got the confidence in the cars, in the team, like you said. He can speak Italian.
Yeah.
He is so ingrained within that what do you call it? It's like a family at this point to him, isn't it now? And I think he's got that confidence of having Lewis Hamilton behind him and in the team, and everything's kind of coming together for him. I know there's going to be that rivalry. Obviously there is, but I think he's going to do great. And he is such a good driver.
Yeah. And
I think Lewis, he's getting older now. We've seen it with Alonso, Vettel when he went to Ferrari. Is it going to be a repeat of that? Potentially.
I don't think so.
No?
I think 2025 is more likely to be Charles' year than Hamilton's year. I think Hamilton is already thinking like 2025, we'll see what happens, no major pressure. 2026 is where it's going to really happen and where the potential 8th might come in. You never know.
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Charles has been so ingrained in that team, and for such a long time they've been saying that he is their future. I always felt a bit bad for Carlos Sainz because I thought he was just as much a part of that team as Charles was, but then, you know, they constantly would be like, Charles is the future, he's like their golden boy. So it's going to be a weird dynamic to start with because obviously Lewis Hamilton will not have been signed as a second driver. So I think that will be more of a challenge for Charles than the driving. He's like basically in his prime, isn't he? He's
totally.
It's really hard to say, but he really could win the championship.
I think so. I think he could. I feel sorry for Carlos Sainz because he was so good and he was like finding his footing as well. Like it was all coming together for him. Good things were happening, and it's not like he was bad, so he was told to leave. It's just like when you get an offer from a 7-time world champion, you go, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like,
I felt so bad as well. Did you see the photos on social media where it was Carlos's first day at Williams and someone was like, it's like when you go down to the garden centre and then obviously Hamilton's, he's there with the F40s in front of the iconic building and he's in his suit and his jacket and it's all like...
looking like a mob boss.
Yeah.
Proper mob boss.
And then it's just a selfie from Carlos in front of Williams. Oh, I felt so bad.
They did, however, release that really nice video. It was so peaceful. It was him like getting measured up for the car and like going out for the first time, wearing pure white overalls because there's still that kind of sponsorship thing with Ferrari right now, where he's not allowed to wear Williams sponsors. But I was watching it like, oh yeah, like this is just so nice. And like there was a bit at the end of the video where they go, Carlos, are you happy? And he goes, yes, I'm happy. And everyone's like,
oh thank goodness.
like, you know, he is bringing something big to that team. Like, you know, he what he will bring is like Ferrari knowledge. And I say that from a team perspective, not him. But he's like, okay, like he'll be able to come in and go, Ferrari do it this way. And it works because they're at the front of the grid.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting time for Williams as well. Jeremy Clarkson. Let's talk about him for a little while. He kind of, well,
went in.
He went in. There's Lewis and Clarkson have never quite got on, have they? I think early years of Hamilton's F1 career, he went on Top Gear, and they had a really great interview. Like he was kind of taking the piss out of Hamilton not having any facial hair and like looking like a bit of a baby, you know, baby face. But they seemed pretty good. But then over the years, as Hamilton became more and more successful, and he became more and more of, I suppose, you know, he's not just an F1 driver. And this is kind of going into what Clarkson was saying, but he is like he's a celebrity.
Celebrity, yeah.
He's a celebrity. As Hamilton became more of what he is now, Clarkson kind of pulled back a bit and was like, actually, not sure I like that type of person. But it's all kind of culminated, hasn't it, now? I'm going to get you the images of Clarkson. Yes. So after the mob boss look of Lewis Hamilton, Clarkson obviously came out and did the same thing in front of his Clarkson's farm. The farm. And yeah, it's not quite centered, but you can see he's kind of taken the mick in a light-hearted way. And he looks great. He looks really great. It's a good suit on Clarkson. You don't usually see Clarkson in a suit.
No.
You can see he's still got his bracelets on.
He probably can't get them off.
He
No, I didn't mean that in a horrible way.
They're welded on.
Yeah, I liked that. I don't agree with the other things he said, but I did like that as kind of a funny, light-hearted move. I mean, VCarb did the same thing, didn't they? Which was like the worst Photoshop I think I've ever seen.
So bad.
But in the same way it kind of worked because it was obvious what they were doing.
I like the
Otherwise,
sentiment.
They give it a good go.
They obviously were like, oh no, we've got like 5 minutes to get
Quick,
this out.
go.
Like the images just come out, and we need to do something. I've got an idea,
Do
guys.
you think they just use paint?
It kind of looked like
A
it. Like
little bit, yeah.
V-Carb, we love you, buddy. But that was so because I was looking at it like because it didn't even look like Hajar,
No.
and I was like, what is that? Like it was a kind of odd angle of the driver, and like he kind of had like a. I was just kind of looking at it like, what if they put up? Oh, I get it. I get it. Like 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Clarkson's written a column for The Sun. He writes these columns in The Sun. And if Clarkson likes to do just one thing, it is divide opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's built a career on it, and he's very good at it. And he does have the knowledge, the experience, the credibility to actually get away with it as well.
Yeah.
If you don't know, before F1 Briefings was F1 Briefings, this was years and years and years ago, we used to actually kind of write on / run a website called Grand Tour Nation. And so we are big fans of Clarkson, Hammond and May, big fans of Top Gear and the Grand Tour and now Clarkson's Farm. So I know we're kind of taking the piss out of this a little bit, but don't take it to heart. We love the guys. So yeah, we kind of know a lot about what Clarkson is like and his character. And I mean, I talked to him years ago, and he was like, "Yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a facade that I put on because it gets clicks and people are kind of engaged with it and draws people in and makes people talk." But anyway, he said Lewis is past his prime. But the main thing he said was, and it's not this one. He said, "What is Lewis now, a driver or a superstar?" And that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we were talking about this. He's kind of both.
He's a superstar driver.
That's what you said. He's
That's
a
what I
superstar
said,
driver.
yeah.
And that's kind of the truth. Like you said, Hamilton, this is you who said this. Hamilton has worked the sport and created something from it for himself.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about this in the last podcast. It's like you got to be an influencer. You got to be the guy on social media, haven't you?
Yeah, and he kind of did that. Well, he's obviously done it very well, but he did that before Drive to Survive
became a thing.
Yeah, and I think that, in my opinion, that's the right way of doing it. You can't drive forever. It's like any sport. You retire young in terms of your career.
At the end of 2026.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, but you do have to build something for yourself at the same time to have. I mean, I know they make shed loads of money.
Do they?
For compared to the average person, they're doing all right.
Wow.
I'd say they're comfortable.
Wow.
Just about, inflation gets us all. But you do need to build something up for yourself, and he's done that perfectly. I also think with social media and everything, he is his own brand now. And as much as this everything that's gone on in the last week with Ferrari has benefited Hamilton, and he's really leaning into the fact that he's moved to Ferrari, it's a historic team, it's amazing and very exciting for him, it's benefiting Ferrari just as much. Like a huge, I've lost my word that I want, something that's so attractive about signing Hamilton isn't
like his
just
USP
his driving, it's everything else that he brings to the brand. And you saw that when they announced that they signed him. I can't remember the exact figure now, but their stock
million.
price overnight went crazy. And even last week, if you just look at the followers on Instagram, they put that photo up and then overnight they gained loads more followers.
And Mercedes lost.
That's unfortunate, but that shows
the marketing
power of having Hamilton, and I don't think that should be knocked. That is something that he has built over the years that he's done very, very well.
And so basically, like Clarkson called out the photography they did. Like Hamilton stood in front of Enzo's house, wasn't it? With the 7 windows and the 1 door. Very cool Ferrari. Very cool. Like that a lot. And he was like, what are they doing? Like, just race. But it's more, I don't even think, Hamilton was probably told to do that. like it wasn't a Hamilton thing, it was a Ferrari marketing thing. And Ferrari would be stupid to not jump into this.
Yeah. Imagine if he literally just turned up and got in the car and they didn't post anything anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
What a lost opportunity that would be.
Yeah.
And I understand what he was saying, where he was kind of saying that Hamilton's going to struggle in Ferrari compared to Charles, which is kind of what we were saying earlier
I
about
kind of agree,
speaking
yeah.
Italian. And he said that Charles wouldn't be taking all the photos. I actually don't think I agree with you.
Ferrari. Charles Leclerc has a photographer basically following him around.
Yeah.
Like all the drivers do.
And do you remember, it was last year, wasn't it? I can't remember what Grand Prix it was, but there was people saw Lewis and Charles doing a little photo shoot.
Yes.
I mean, that is what 2025 might bring us.
Daddy Lewis. Oh. I'll take it. No, I love the duo. I think it's great. Like, Charles is, we know he's always looked up to Lewis. And I think Lewis has a lot of respect for Charles as well because he's so talented and so good. So, yeah, I'm excited. The other thing that Clarkson said is that he said it could be argued that Lewis Hamilton wants a record-breaking 8th World Championship before he retires. Well, obviously. I think every F1 driver would be going after eight. Yeah. They moved to Ferrari because he reckons that this year they will have the fastest car. I actually don't think that's the reason. I think he moved to Ferrari because it's Ferrari. And I don't think realistically he's expecting the car to be the best in 2025. I think he's going there for 2026.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2026 is what he's thinking is going to be a more promising year for him. But then I think there was other things involved. I think, a lot of drivers will always dream of driving for Ferrari, and he's coming to the end of his career. And if this was the either only or best opportunity for him to do that, then he's got to just go for it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And he also said, interestingly, that Charles Leclerc is regarded by many to be the fastest driver of them all. I think he's onto something there. Charles Leclerc is definitely up there. Anyway, let's talk. The FIA have done something again. They've done something again, and I don't like it. They've literally got out a swear jar. And, I mean, this is so stupid, isn't it? This is so stupid. So, we've got it down here as the FIA being dicks. And
that's 40 grand.
I haven't got 40 grand. Oh, no, it's okay. It's not 40 grand because I'm not an F1 driver.
10.
That's just 10. So they've changed the sporting code, the international sporting code. Basically, after all that kind of controversy last year about Max swearing and getting... what did he have to do? He had
community service.
Yeah, community service. He went to Rwanda and he was like chilling with some young drivers there. It looked kind of cool, but anyway, he was forced to do that. Stupid. They're now actually kind of defining the rules around this, and there are new penalties. It's a tiered thing. This is so stupid. Okay, first offence. An F1 for an F1 driver, €40,000 fine for misconduct, including offensive language. This also includes talking about anything like any sort of agenda. So I say agenda loosely, like religion or personal beliefs or whatever. They can't push that. They get fined. Ka-ching. Second offence, €80,000. And a suspended... No, that's not right. That's wrong. In the notes. Third offence, €120,000 and a 1-month suspension.
And potential deduction in the championship points.
That's insanity.
What if they swear 3 times in one interview? Is that 3 offences?
I don't know.
Imagine? Do you know what I'd be doing if I was one of the other drivers? In all the press conferences, I'd just be pushing their buttons to try and make them swear, then they'll lose championship points.
Yeah, exactly.
So stupid,
that's right.
Honestly.
There's now a battle off the track between the drivers. This is so stupid. So stupid. And this is just about the FIA basically having their thumb over the drivers and basically it's like a power play. Like, what is this? What is happening? What Drive to Survive? Like, one of the first lines heard on Drive to Survive, right, is Daniel Ricciardo talking about Netflix.
Yeah.
And he was like, that won't make it a Drive to Survive. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because it shows Ricciardo's personality. It shows that F1 doesn't take itself so seriously. Huh. That's not a thing anymore, is it? What have the drivers got left to do? Because, go on.
I was just going to say, it's just going to undo a lot of the work that Drive to Survive did. And I know a lot of people don't like Drive to Survive, but what it has been really amazing at is showing the driver's personality. You're not just seeing them in a helmet in a car anymore. Like, you've learned what each driver is like Daniel Ricciardo is the best example of that. But
yeah, Gunther Steiner.
Yeah, they wouldn't be who they are if we didn't see that side of them. And obviously no one is thrilled by swearing, but is it that big of a deal?
No,
not really. Like,
not.
Live TV, there's a bit of a lag anyway. You can put a beep on there. With all of the team radios, they beep it anyway.
Yeah.
So does it really matter? No. It's not ideal that Max swore in a press conference, but it was also directed at his car. He wasn't being offensive to anyone. Should he be fined 40 grand for it? That's pocket change for him, I guess. But
no,
not really. Like, it's the principle. And if they're controlled even more, because they're all very heavily PR trained, they give very specific answers and they're very careful with it because they know they're being watched all the time.
Yeah.
But they're not going to show any personality anymore because they're going to be thinking so much about not swearing that they're just going to give really bland answers. And I wouldn't even blame them for that anymore.
No.
So it's going to make our job really difficult.
Well, it's just like, what is the point? Like, you know, when they do these interviews, they like, so like in an interview situation, let's say outside of a race weekend, because they have more time. So, you know, we do a lot of them and you send off your questions to the team. They get checked over. You know, for example, like changing words that might have negative connotations or whatever. Perfectly fine. That's just how it works. We get used to it. You move on. You ask those questions, and then they have the answers lined up. Very controlled, but, you know, it's just the way the world works these days. It's just how it is. On a race weekend, there's a little more adrenaline, and I think that's the main chemical that's the chemical that makes the difference, isn't it? They have the adrenaline, and they're excited, they're angry, they're fueled for the race. And because of that, they sometimes push a little further. And sometimes they get angry. And sometimes they swear because of that. We're human. Of course they're going to swear. Like, they're traveling 200 mile an hour in a car with, like, inches away from walls, battling 19 other people where potentially someone could die.
I think as well, from the media point of view, if there's something to write about after the race, like a driver saying something a little bit more out there, that's only going to benefit the sport because
more people are interested.
Yeah, you're getting more press coverage about it.
Why did Drive to Survive do so well? Because they centered on the drama.
Yeah.
That is what people love, a bit of drama, don't they? Like, it's like, what, Keeping Up with the Desperate Housewives or whatever it's called. I don't
gave
know.
it a good go. I mean,
like it's surrounding drama.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like, you know, you walk. These series are crazy, and there's always swearing being thrown at each other, and they're always having like cat fights and whatever. Drive to Survive was like the Formula One version of that, and it worked because people were like, "Oh, the drama, this is kind of cool." And like you said, you then get connected to the personalities because, like, Daniel Ricciardo doesn't mind calling Netflix a bunch of whatever. Monetization is a thing on YouTube. Just we are
heavily controlled.
We are heavily controlled. But, like, you know, you get connected to those personalities. Does that mean they're not going to be able to swear on Drive to Survive? Like, what are they going to do? You might as well have autonomous cars at this point because that's all the drivers are going to be doing, driving.
I would have thought on Drive to Survive it's fine.
But why?
But
why is it fine?
As long as it's not shown on the air, like during an F1 race, because I don't think the FIA have anything to do with Drive to Survive, do they?
No.
But it is still representing the sport, so I don't know. I think as well there's the argument that it's usually on mid-afternoon. There's children watching, which I understand, but I don't agree.
Well,
because,
but that's what bleeping is for.
You can bleep it. You can't make a decision for every person who's watching the sport. That has to be down to each individual family or person, whatever. When you take a child to a football match, they're going to see a whole lot worse.
Yes, good point.
Than a few swear words here and there in F1. Also, I highly doubt a child is sitting and watching a press conference.
Yeah, I barely do that.
Team radios are bleeped.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, you might as well at this point just tape over their mouths, take away the mics.
I mean, do you think press conferences will keep going?
Well, we were talking about this earlier.
If they can't be themselves and they're just going to give generic answers, they may as well just do a press release.
Well, yeah, like I said, we were talking about this earlier, and there's that whole, again, you said like the Max Verstappen kind of saying, where's the British media? And like Crofty was like, well, we're doing the exclusive interviews because the press releases are televised to everyone, like it's not exclusive, but also typed up and then sent out by the FIA. So what is the point? Like we watch them, but we don't like really write about it because it's not exclusive. Like everyone,
you might do sometimes, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's not the prime.
It's not a priority at all.
Yeah.
And then if, like you said, if drivers are then not allowed to be themselves, they're not allowed to talk about their own personal feelings, basically, because that's maybe pushing an agenda. They can't talk about charities or religion. They can talk about the race, but they can't be overly emotional about it. They've got to be robotic, basically. Maybe they just have to replace... Maybe they just say fluff instead. They have to replace it. This is fluffing...
Oh, you lost it. Sugar.
Sugar. It's fluffing sugar.
Is it?
Yep. That's what I think of these new regulations. FIA, this is fluffing sugar.
Also, I'm just going to move on from that.
It makes me so angry.
But when Max had his little incident, which was not really even an incident, he just swore.
It was an incident.
Crying out loud. He then thought, well, screw this. I'm going to go do my own little media huddle outside. Whoever wants to join me can. You may feel offended afterwards. I really don't care. Like, what's to stop the drivers just going and doing that? Are they then allowed to swear in that? I suppose if it's a written interview, who cares? It's not being televised anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
And who is this actually affecting? Obviously the drivers, but is it affecting the team principals? Is it affecting the pit crew, the garage, the mechanics?
I bet goodness is like, I got out at the right time.
Oh yeah, like honestly,
he would be bankrupt.
Yeah, he would be. Like I just don't understand. Like when we've created such incredible personalities, Gunther Steiner being like the main example through swearing, and that has benefited F1 massively. Why then remove that?
I think as well, just why not define it as like aggression? Because a bit of swearing here and there is not, in my opinion, a big deal. But I did think that some of Max's team radio messages throughout last year were over the line. Like, they didn't need to be that aggressive.
Yeah.
Aimed at whoever it was.
But then that's not actually down to the swearing then, is it? Like you said, it should just be aggressive language.
Aggressive. And, Yuki Tsunoda has been known sometimes to have a few little outbursts. Yeah. Surely that's more harmful to people watching than swearing. And, swearing at a car is not that big a deal. But being rude, if I had a child, I'd be more concerned about them learning that behaviour than swearing.
You're entirely right. How is this going to be regulated? How is this going to be put in place? Is it going to be? Like, is this just a warning? Is this just the FIA kind of stretching their muscles a bit and being like, you know what? We have got power over you, but we're not actually going to do anything about it because it's going to happen anyway, let's face it. I don't know. I'm wondering what the FIA is getting out of this. Like, they are turning into some sort of like, it's like the Empire, isn't it? It's like Ben Sulayem is what's it? The Emperor.
Are
He's the
you
Emperor.
talking about Star Wars? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, I just needed to be sure. I
Sorry,
wasn't sure.
sorry.
What was happening.
In my mind, I was like,
Right.
Mohammed Ben Sulayem is the Emperor.
I'm gonna try and keep up here.
I don't understand it. He's trying to like get everyone under his control, but the F1 doesn't need the FIA anymore. This surely is. It's gonna be one of the pieces of straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, how long is the FIA gonna? Sorry, how long is is F1 gonna roll over? Because Formula One is so popular.
Yeah.
What does the FIA bring to the party? Seriously, like that is the question. And on that happy note,
Well,
there
goes your career.
Yeah, that's my career over. I'm going to be writing from home from now on.
I'm interested to see what the F1 drivers do. I would actually love it if they all turned up at Australia and just all at the same time, just like.
Well, that's our monetization gone. Great. Okay. I'll meet
I
that
actually didn't say a proper word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think hopefully, like George Russell is going to get all the drivers together and be like, guys, this is shit.
I bet he writes a really good letter.
Oh, dear Mr. FIA
President.
No, I think you're right. I think the drivers should all get together and just shout into the mics, just all the swear words they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be great. And then what? No F1 for a month?
Yeah.
No,
I don't like that idea.
Maybe not. But like, come on, it's so stupid. Anyway, we've been rambling on about this for a long time. Thank you so much for watching. We're so excited for the F1 season to start, regardless of the FIA being stupid. Good question to end the podcast on. Who is the driver that's gonna get fined first, and why is it Max?